All right. Well, hey everyone. My name is Dee Corchin. It is February 23rd, and I am thrilled to be hosting tonight's Zoom call. And Susan and I were talking earlier in the week, and the topic of integration came up, and full integration. And it's a term that's tossed around that we hear quite a bit within our organization, but I think for one, some of us may not even know what that means. Like, even what does the term mean for our clients, for ourselves, for our business? And then, more importantly, how do we take that definition? How do we apply it so it makes us the best health coach we can be, the best client we can be for our own personal health, and then start to use it towards our business? So I thought I'd go over some of the preliminary stuff, some of the basics, and then I'm going to have a little help from Angela and from Liz. So appreciate them doing that. So a while back, about a couple years ago, the idea of integration was introduced. And to integrate basically means bringing various parts together to make a whole. And so if you think about it from our organization, there's so much that we offer in our health program. And very often, we probably see it happen with our clients. It's very easy just to get hung up on one aspect of it. And for us, most often, just the weight loss piece of it. But we all know that when we incorporate the other important aspects of our program, like the education and the support, all the tools that we offer, that we know that that's when our clients are more likely to be set up for long-term success. So it's in our best interest, to help encourage our clients to do that. And the official definition through Take Shape for Life for a fully integrated client is that they're really committed to making health a reality in their life. So we're really trying to stay away from the dieters, that dieting mindset, or at least move them in the direction of being more committed for that long-term objective. They're using the 5-in-1 plan, to go towards their healthy weight. And if they're not on the 5-in-1, it's only because there's a variation because of either a medical condition or, their exercise schedule or whatever that might be. They're on our Be Slim Club, they're ordering on a regular basis, and we know that that's how they're staying consistent on their plan. They're, looking at the education, the Habits of Health book, but more importantly, implementing the other habits of health that we encourage, like exercise and sleep and all of that. They embrace the bio network of support that we have, and that they utilize us, their health coaches, for support and for guidance. And I know that is one area that as health coaches that we struggle a lot with, is that connection and engaging our clients. So we're going to be spending some time talking about that. And they're really focused on creating optimal health. So, I think step one is we probably need to look at ourselves as individuals, and are we modeling that for our clients? Really looking at, where are we with our health? And I just know from my experience working in the organization is that, very often if we're on track and we're engaged with our own health, following the habits of health, managing our healthy weight, or on the 5-in-1 towards it, that we tend to attract people that are the same way, and that's what we're modeling for people, and that's what tends to be duplicated in our business. When we slip up, and the reality is it's tough to stay on track with our health. I mean, I'll be the first to say it. But when we slip up, and if we let ourselves start to drift further away from our coach and our habits of health, it seems like to me, every time I see that start to happen, I see it start to be reflected in somebody's business as well. And there's probably a lot that's behind that. So number one, I think look at yourself and where you are with your own integration from being a client. And then that's in fact what we want to model and encourage our clients to do. And we'll spend a little bit more on that in a few minutes. A fully integrated health coach is one that we're really starting to strive and get into starting to help a lot more people, really starting to get to that executive director level. So the definition is that we're inspiring our clients to be fully integrated, that's how we're coaching our clients. We help them make health a priority and a fundamental choice. Certification is part of being a fully integrated health coach. And then also being an ED by volume, which means that we have at least 6,000 in frontline volume, which is an average of about 25 active clients. So that means we're a fully engaged health coach, that we're operating at a level, helping a lot of people. We're certified and really moving our clients in the direction that we want to be. And when we have fully integrated clients, the natural outcome of that is going to be not only for their own health, and for their best interest, but it's also going to put them in a position that they're probably going to either be our referral sources for other clients, or we're probably already starting to talk to them maybe about the opportunity about being a health coach. So starting to think in terms of that. And then it builds from there. There's a fully integrated business coach, and that is everything that I've said before, but also having 5 senior coaches on their team, and having a frontline volume of 15,000 or more. So in that way, as a health coach, not only are we just helping clients, but we're also starting to build depth to our organization and our business and an equity business. And we do that by helping other health coaches. And then there's another leader from level from there, getting up to kind of the global level. And I won't spend much time talking about that. So I wanted to go back to a little bit about our own clients and our health coaches. If you have health coaches on your team, how do we really engage is a word I like to use for integration. It's like, how do we engage? Are we engaged ourselves as health coaches? I mean, you guys are by being on this call, but are we taking advantage of everything that we have, attending the local events and things like that? That's going to certainly help us as individuals and as coaches. But then when we look at it from our clients, how do we engage them? And I think it's a struggle. I mean, I'm just going to be honest. I think it's just something that we all kind of battle with. It's like we know what's best for our clients, and we know why it's so important for them to talk to us. We know why it's so important for them to embrace the habits of health and all the other things we talked about. But the reality is, people are busy, and people have their own mindset and their own concepts and their own objectives. And so how do we bridge that, and how do we meet them where they are and try to move them in the direction that we know is going to be in their best interest? So I thought I'd just share a little bit about some of the things that I do that I think work for me, and it's definitely a skill I think I'm continuing to develop and build on. And I've touched on this before, but when it comes to communication with my clients, I really, really do try to encourage weekly communication, other than that initial setup of the first few days on the program. But I always posture it with them in a really, really positive manner. So when we're talking about the program before they've even become a client, I kind of give them a high-level overview of what it's going to look like, what our coaching relationship is going to look like. And I'll use terms like, my most successful clients are the ones that I talk to on a regular basis. I mean, I just kind of posture it so that they'll know that I'm saying this because it's really in their best interest. And this is what my experience has shown with other people. And, I kind of just drip on them on a need to know basis. When we start them off and they talk the first 3 days, I don't even really talk about the weekly communication until we get to the end of the 3 days. And then I'll say, okay, well, great. Well, now we're going to evolve to weekly communication. This is what it looks like. It's, by phone. I'll call you. What's better, Monday or Wednesday? And I'll let them know. It's going to be a 5 to 10 minute conversation. We're going to talk about what's going well. We're going to talk about, where you are with the education materials. If you're struggling to get into that, I'm going to help you, do that. We'll start to incorporate the other habits of health. And if you're struggling, that's going to be the most important time for us to talk. So I try to posture it so that they will know that I'm there for them, whether things are going well or not. I do use the Take Shape for Life newsletter. I'm exploring some other options on that, but I do use the Habits of Health newsletter as an ongoing touch for my clients and my prospects to give them more information and let them see that we're bigger than just the diet and the weight loss component. I am a big social media person, Facebook. I try to connect with all my prospects and my clients and do things that are health related on my page. So it's very clear and give them useful tips and recipes. I do ongoing, habits of health, or I'll do some kind of, I don't do it that often. Something I need to probably work on. Try to do some ongoing emails to existing clients with, sometimes Dr. Anderson will put something out that I'll forward on to them, or if it's around the holidays, I'll put something out to them about that. And if there's a challenge coming up, I'll talk about that, one of our health challenges. And I just wanted to touch on that for a bit, because I know some of us have been involved in the health challenges, either as participants, some have not been involved at all, some have been involved and not really happy with the outcome. But I definitely think it can be an opportunity for us. Number one, I think for ourselves. I mean, when I really started to look at this today, I almost feel like every health coach should be involved in the health challenge. because we do know it's tough with our own health to stay on track. And using a tool like the Health Challenge can keep us engaged on another level, keep dripping those informations. Every time I have led a challenge, I learn from the education, that's provided. So it can be a tool for us. And then if there's anything we need to tweak, I had let my weight slip up a little bit after the holidays. So I used the last one and lost 5 pounds from it by making that commitment. And I don't know that I would have achieved that if I was just doing it on my own. So it can help us as individuals, but I find the challenges can help on a number of levels. What I have found is, I've invited a lot of people, prospects, people I've talked to before, my friends, my contacts, people that may or may not ever do our program. But what I have found is that the outcome of that has been is that they really, really get a good picture of who we are and the depth of the health program that we offer. When we talk about full integration and so many components, I think a lot of times people label us and they might think of us as just, oh, that's that Medifast thing. And they don't really get it. And I feel like they do get it once they participate. So if I've had somebody come through that process, a friend or whatever, I use that opportunity at the end to encourage them to consider our program or refer me. And I have definitely had that outcome happen, both of those situations. I have found with my clients, not everybody wants to participate, but those that do are blown away by our education that we provide. And these are usually people that have not been engaged in the habits of health. And I feel like they're starting to get it. So it's a way that we can provide that information to them when they may not ever sit down and open the book or the workbook, but they're at least it's starting to filter into them. And then I have found it's just been a huge opportunity for health coaches, whether it has potential health coaches, whether they are existing clients and didn't really know about the opportunity or what we have to offer. Or I've had several people unfamiliar with us whatsoever that just joined that then became a health coach. And I think out of the last challenge that we had in the fall, I had 3 health coaches come from that. And then this most recent one that just finished up, 3 health coaches, and I'm talking to another one. And 2 of them I don't know that we've ever would have gotten there had I not had this forum to work with them. So that's something that I'd be happy to share more about if anybody wants to have a one-on-one conversation. I know Liz and I talked about it quite a bit this afternoon. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Liz and ask you to just share a little bit about how you engage with your clients and your prospects and how do you keep that communication going.
Thanks, Dee. Those are all really helpful comments. And like you, I do, I struggle sometimes with engagement. I have clients and some are really connective and want to talk, and others it's really, I'll call, I don't get replies, I'll email, I don't get replies. And so I know they're out there, I know they're ordering, but I don't know what's going on with them. And I start to get a little nervous about that. So a couple of ways I try to stay connected with clients. I do a monthly communication, and I try not to call it a newsletter. It's more of it is a newsletter. I use Mad Mimi, but in my monthly communication, I try to reach out to them with something that's a general interest type article, often something from the Habits of Health. I go a little bit more in depth with it. So it could be about sleep or motivation to change, or about activity, or just anything from our plan. I usually just try to rewrite it so I'm not just plagiarizing Dr. A. I don't feel good about that, but try to reshape it and restate it in some new ways. But a general interest, a success story that I pull from Team Global webinars, or my own clients, and then a recipe. And then I always try to find ways to link through to different other pages. So if I can link through to Dr. Anderson's website, or to a recipe like Pop Sugar. Some of my recipes come from websites like Pop Sugar or something. I'll click a link through to that, but try to make it a little bit interactive so that I can, when I go back and look and see who's opened the emails, I can see, okay, what are they looking at? Because Mad Mimi will tell me what pages what links they're clicking onto, so I can see, how many times somebody's opened the email and looked at it, how many times they've clicked through to different things. So if I've got this goes out to my prospects and my clients. So if it goes out to my prospects and I see somebody who's clicked on something like 11 times, I'm like thinking, wow, they're really interested in this. And so I'll take it, I'll call them up, or sometimes I'll email them, but I try to connect with them and say, hey, just wondered what's going on. And, try to find out what interests them, why they're connecting through. So it gives me a tool to see who's interested and where they're engaging. And that works even with my clients. I can see my clients and saying, okay, well, they're really looking on those recipes. So then I know that maybe I can follow up with the clients who I haven't been engaging with as much, give them some more recipes, or it gives me an opening to talk to people. So I like to use a monthly contact, and then I use text and emails, and eventually I'll do a couple of these different methods. And if somebody just is non-responsive altogether, then I kind of don't keep bugging them, kind of wait until they have something happen, or, I finally just sometimes just say, okay, enough's enough. I don't want to be the pest in their ear. And usually I'll either run into them or something will happen, and we'll just, reconnect then and there with wherever their issues are at the time. That's kind of what I do.
I love that. What do you, two questions I have for you. The first one is, so, you see somebody, because this happens even with the Habits of Health newsletter for those people that are using it. So if you see somebody who's clicking through, and they've clicked 8 times on, maybe they've gone to your website. So now that they're considering the program. They keep going back to look at it or something. How do you frame it when you call them? Because I don't think we're going to certainly say, hey, I saw you clicked on my website 8 times. So what do you say to them? How do you open it up?
Yeah, I'm a cyber stalker. That's what I am. No, usually, so that's a great question. What I do is, especially if it's with my newsletter, I'll do it from a sense of self-improvement. Hey, I'm working on these newsletters. I wonder how you're finding them. Are they helpful to you? How could I improve them? Are you getting the information from them that's useful to you? And so then it turns it around to being I'm coming to them with a request that helps me. I think they feel respected and they feel valued, and it creates an opening there to have a conversation around what they've found in the content of the letter that's been helpful, and helps me know a little bit about where they're at.
Yeah, oh, I love that. So I like how you I don't know, you just kind of open yourself up for feedback and just say, hey, how's it, this is, this is new for me or whatever. How do you like, what you're receiving? Is it helpful to you? I think that's awesome to do it that way. My other question is, because this just happened to a coach of mine, and I was just curious what your response is that, what do you do with, that person that you talked about where, they've kind of let go. They're not calling you back. They're not texting or whatever. And then you start to see that orders being postponed, or maybe they even cancel. Do you reach out to them, and if so, what do you say or do in that situation?
I do reach out to them, and usually I reach out and I feel guilty because I think, I should have done something else. But I think Susan's convinced me along the way that their journey is their journey, and they make choices all along the way. And oftentimes there's really not things that we can do that save somebody who's determined to leave. If they're not determined to leave, then I still connect with them in any way. And what I like to do is try to create some kind of either resurrect them or create some kind of closure for them. So, I'll reach out to them, call them. Hopefully if I talk to them, if I don't, it's like, hey, just, wondered how things are for you, where you are. And if we can, if you've reached your goal, that's great. Let's make sure to transition you and get you to be able to keep that weight off. If you haven't reached your goal, let me know what's going on, because it sounds like the plan might not be working for you. And I wonder how it's not working for you. It can help me coach other people better if I know what's been going on with you. It'll help me coach you better if I know what's going on with you. And it'll help you know what to do next, whether it's this plan or not, maybe if we have a chance to talk and figure out what's been working and what hasn't been working. So those are some of the things that I do when I get those awful emails that say, I'm canceling out of the blue.
Yeah, this program's not working for me. Yeah. And I do the same. I mean, I'll reach back out and say, well, let's talk about what's not working for you. Well, what could you do? Or if I get a voicemail, I might say something like, you know what, I do have some options for you. I mean, we're not an all or nothing program, and I would love to share that with you. And I try to get the door back open to some sort of discussion and see if they'll re-engage on some level. So that's right. Good.
Exactly.
Well, thank you for that. I hope you can get out. I know you got to go. So you go ahead. And Angela, I wanted to ask you the same questions. What are you doing these days to engage your clients and your prospects?
So, well, I mean, I do most of what you guys say, I guess. I mean, I do go through phases where I'm really good about sending out the weekly Habit of Health emails that we got from a long time ago. There's like 8 different ones. So I try on Monday or Tuesday to send that email out to all of my clients, but not just my clients, anyone who I feel like I've had kind of maybe someone who's no longer on plan, or maybe they have not been in touch. They don't have to have be full on engaged for me to send them that email. A lot of times I send it to, like that client who's postponed their order for the last couple of months. They haven't really been in touch, but it's just healthy information. So I try to include them on that list. Let's see, what I do, like a monthly newsletter, but that's more of for me, it's a little bit more prospect focused. I do connect with all my clients on Facebook. I think that that's a huge way to get to know them and their world. And then if I have someone who is canceled or postponed, I almost always leave you're going to get a voicemail like 90% of the time, right, when you call them. But I do call them, not just an email. I make sure I call them so they hear my voice. And I leave a message that just says, hey, checking in with you. Saw you canceled your Be Slim, so you must be, deciding to go forward a little bit differently. But I do want to chat and make sure that you are that you know exactly what to do to maintain the success that you had on program. I'm here for you. You do not have to order a product for me to help you through a transition process, or just talk a little bit about maintenance and what that looks like. And I almost always get a call back. You will almost always get a call back if you're offering something. Now, if it's someone who hasn't canceled, but maybe just is postponed a little, just keeps postponing, I leave a message that says, I pretty much leave a message assuming they're doing great. Hey, how are you? Can't wait to hear how you're doing. I'm sure by now you're down like another 10 pounds. I haven't talked to you in forever. I hope that you are doing well and excited about your progress. Please let me know if I can help you in any way. But just kind of upbeat, and I always assume the best. I always assume they're doing well. They're never going to get a message that says, well, you've been postponing, so obviously you're not doing plans, so you probably aren't losing. So, I mean, that doesn't make anyone want to call you back. So I just try to keep it upbeat and positive. So I think that was my main things, I guess. I try to do that weekly kind of connection email to them that has a Habit of Health on it. That way, if you don't even talk to them, at least they're still getting, some kind of communication from you. And then, just staying in touch with them.
Those Habits of Health emails, when we talked today, that was a reminder. I for a while I sent those, and I realized I've stopped doing it. So you just send those on a rotating basis. You just keep going and repeating the cycle.
Yeah, I try. I didn't do very well during the holidays, and then I picked them back up again recently. I have a whiteboard in my office, so I have them written. I have the titles of them, so like sleep, balance, support, yo-yo cycle, healthy mind, water, all the like all 8 things are there. And when I send them, I write the date next to them, so it keeps me remembering. So like I try to do it on Mondays. This week it was Tuesday. Yeah, this week I sent it today, but just trying to get it out every week. And then I copy my coaches on it so they can copy it and just send it too.
Yeah, that's good. I would say if you're on the call and you don't know what these Habits of Health emails are, to check with your business coach about that. And Angela, is there something we can post as a link, like in Team Palace, do you think?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're probably in the document file.
In there.
I'll find them and try to tag them.
Okay. And I said I agree. I would just say connect with your business.
I get a great response from those. Like, you know, and I'll have people on there that I haven't, once in a while I'll just include someone who, you know, maybe started Plan but was never a good client, and it's been a couple months and I think they're probably about ready to try again. You know, I'll copy them on it. You know, I'll copy those occasional people on there, and you'll be surprised. Sometimes you'll get a response where someone's like, you know, thanks for the reminder. And I'm like, whoa, haven't heard from you in like 6 months. You never know.
Yeah. Or I'll find sometimes they've held on to an email that I might have sent before Christmas or something, and then it'll get like a reply to something that's titled like Managing the Holidays, and it's February, and they're like, hey, I think we need to talk, or what, you know, they want to re-engage, but whatever it was, they hung on to that email. So that's kind of cool. So, and then just with your newsletter, you're using you're using Mad Mimi too?
I do Mad Mimi as well. I mean, you know, I kind of, again, I create that newsletter and I do it for all of my coaches so that they don't have to create it, but it's exactly what Liz said. It's a recipe, it's a healthy tip, it's a before and after. I feel like the recipes, people keep the emails for the recipes. So I think if you can have a nice recipe that grabs them, they're going to hang on to the email because they might want to make the recipe.
Right.
So I try to include a recipe. I try to do them at once a month. That's just kind of whenever I get to it.
Cool.
And I do like the challenge. I was just going to add, you know, the challenge for me, I feel like is a really great way of helping people become fully integrated about our program, giving them the bigger picture of health and how it's not just about the weight. You know, I like that. I've had a lot of success this last go round with people just kind of going, wow, you know, I love how this is just about everything and not just about food. So
I see Lauren in the picture. Well, yeah, and I would say with the health challenges, if you're not personally hosting a room, or if your coach is not, just keep reaching up your business line, because there will be somebody who's hosting a room. A new challenge actually starts this Sunday, March 1st. It's a 4-week challenge. So you can certainly join in on somebody else's. You know, we want to give all our clients the opportunity, or prospects to have the opportunity to be a part of that. So we're about down to the last 2 minutes of the call. Just want to see if there's any questions, or Susan, did you want to add anything?
No, you know, I love what everyone shared. I've learned a ton. Angela, one question for you. Did you have, when you do your weekly newsletters, do you do that on Mad Mimi too, or do you do that on your email account?
I do them as a straight email. I feel like it's a little more personal than the Mad Mimi, so I don't use Mad Mimi for anything except my connections list.
And then Dee, I really liked what you said about how you set it up initially, what for them to expect. Mm-hmm. Like you say, the Monday or Wednesday, it's going to be 5 to 10 minutes. Here's what we're going to talk about. And I think that really would be able to get you good success, because I mean, they know what they're expecting. So I really like that. I'm going to even change what I do, actually.
Yeah, it's been the most effective thing. I mean, I've been going with this approach for probably the past 8 to 12 months. And it's really been, I think, with the newer clients I brought on, that I've had the best success with engaging them. So.
Nice. Liked it.
Well, thank you guys for joining in. If you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to me or Angela or Liz. I'll get this recording up for everybody, and we'll also get those access to those Habits of Health emails. And if you want to be part of the challenge, let us know. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.